Was there a moment that stands out to you when you're looking back on those performances, watching your cousin play, where maybe, it's hard to tell what you want to do for a career at that age? I don't think anyone does, even if, they tell you, oh, I knew when I was 10. Is there a moment where you sparked something inside you, sparked that passion where you saw your cousin on stage and you thought, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to be involved in music in some way?
Well, music for me, I mean, yes, that definitely inspired me watching him do that and do that successfully. I mean, I even remember the times when he put out Identity Crisis, which is like their first real album that was released with like an imprint. And the family was like kind of skeptical of it back then. And then as they continued to release more music and become more successful, it was like, oh, he actually is making a career for himself and is supporting himself financially. And, oh, this is actually pretty cool now. Like, I saw that progression within my family, which was really cool to see them kind of learn to come around to accept him for the talent that he had for music and to not choose like a typical path, I guess, as a career choice. Music for me was a little bit different. I mean, I studied electrical engineering in college though. So even after seeing Dustin and all of his success with Thrice, I still kind of was like on this trajectory, not in music. My dad was an engineer. So I figured like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was like, I guess I'll be an engineer too. And it wasn't until I was in school that I kind of realized I didn't like engineering and kind of hated it and wasn't very good at it, that, I got into dance music around that time period and I downloaded Ableton and basically was off the side, like producing music as my escape from not wanting to be an engineer. And that was like the beginnings of like the Gryffin world really. And like making that kind of music.
Yeah. How do you think about that time when you were still deep in the engineering program where maybe you thought that this was going to be your future, but then you also saw an outlet in music? Because I went through a different sort of situation where I was studying accounting and now I do podcasts and podcast producing, which I could have, I taught myself how to do that, the basics of it in a few months on YouTube. So now I look back and I'm like, damn, like I spent four years studying accounting, which is helpful in business in a lot of ways. How do you look back on engineering during that time? Is there anything that you still draw from or that you're grateful that you had that experience for?
That's awesome. Congrats on that career change and pivot. I feel like we can relate a lot to that.
Unexpected, but super grateful.
Yeah. Well, in terms of that question, I would say nothing directly has helped me with music. Like, I don't apply any of the principles I learned from electrical engineering into like music theory or anything like that. But it did teach me to work really hard. Like, I don't think I actually had the greatest work ethic. Maybe in like high school, like it's in middle school, with like just going through that sort of, I don't know, just like playing sports and getting good grades in high school. Like, I mean, I guess I put in work, but it wasn't like, I never felt like that challenged by it. And then I got to engineering school and I realized very quickly that I was not the smartest guy in the room. It was pretty humbling being like, whoa, I actually have to study a lot and work really hard if I'm going to try and get like passing grades in this class and try and get a job. So that, and it made me like, a lot of my friends were business majors and in the arts. And it's not to say those degrees are easy, but I didn't have as much time as they had, because I always had to go to like 4-hour labs and all this other stuff for the engineering degrees. And I had to learn how to prioritize and say no, being like, hey, like, sorry, I can't play beer pong with you guys this afternoon. Like, I got a lab I need to go to, or I got to study. And that sort of like work ethic and thought process, I think, from engineering did teach me that if I was going to get good at making music and producing music, that I had to put in work and work hard to get to where I needed to be.